This is the October session of the Special Magistrate of the City of Oviedo. We are now in session. Our purpose today is to hear cases that have been brought before us by the Code Enforcement Office of the City of Oviedo. The City of Oviedo in 3 cases today have alleged that there are violations of the Land Development Code or the Code of Ordinances. My job today as Special Magistrate is to hear those cases and to provide a fair hearing for both the city and any involved property owners or other interested persons. At the end of the day, our overall purpose is to ensure that everyone has the benefit of the ordinances and the Land Development Code provisions that relate to the City of Oviedo. So the first case we'll take up today is the case of Ernest and Elaine Comfort. That's case number CE 15-000823. The address is 947 Rich Drive. Tax parcel ID number is 09213150000610. The city has alleged a violation of Section 4.15 of Article 4 of the Land Development Code relating to accessory structures, in particular walls or fences. Who's going to be presenting that case for the city? Mr. Orioles, would you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly affirm that the testimony you shall give today shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay. Okay.
We're all
Okay. Well, anyone else who plans to testify in this case today, whether it's for the city or the individuals? Anyone else who plans to testify?
At all.
At all?
Mr.
All right, stand up, please. Anyone who plans on testifying. All right, first state your names for the record. We'll start with you, sir. All right, and the lady in the white blouse. All right, would you raise your right hand, all 4 of you? Do you solemnly affirm that the testimony you shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? All right. All right, Mr. Orioles, you may proceed.
Good morning, Your Honor. It's Jim Orioles representing the city in case number 15-000-823, 947 Rich Drive. As Your Honor has already mentioned, violation of 4.15 C4D of the Land Development Code. I have 17 pages of documents for Your Honor, if I may approach.
Yes, please. Has the property owner seen these documents?
Yes, sir. The property owner has been given a copy of those documents before the
All right.
session started, Your
All
Honor.
right, let me take a brief look at them. Anyone have any objection to me accepting these documents and evidence? All right, they will be received in evidence as the city's exhibit. All right, Mr. Orioles, go ahead.
Your Honor, the first document you'll see is the property appraiser sheet showing that the property is owned, in fact, by Ernest and Elaine Comfort. The second item of Your Honor is a copy of Section 4.15 of the Land Development Code. 4D says walls or fences having side with exposed irregular structural components and a more finished, uniform, and aesthetically attractive sides shall be constructed so that the more finished, uniform, and aesthetically attractive side faces outward from the fenced property towards adjoining property. On 7/19, actually, we got a complaint on Mr. and Mrs. Comfort's property that the aesthetically pleasing side of the fence was facing inward rather than outward. On 7/20, I did an inspection, when in fact I found that this was correct. However, in this particular case, I didn't quite understand because, as Your Honor can see, the fence has been that way for probably 10 to 15 years. This is not something new. And Mr. and Mrs. Comfort have not owned the property all that time. When Mr. and Mrs. Comfort bought the property, the fence was as you see it. It has not been changed. The only change that was made was Mr. Comfort did a repair towards the back of the property where he did change a panel or two. This is approximately 85-foot stretch of fence. And he did repair. He had two broken panels towards the rear of the property that he did repair. But the rest of the fence has been there, my guess would be 10 to 15 years. We searched property records, and we can find no permit that was ever issued for the property, but our records only go back so far, and this fence may have been built before our records, so it may have been permitted after all and possibly never inspected, but we have no record of any inspections. On July 21st, we sent Mr. and Mrs. Comfort a notice of violation. You can see, Your Honor, that we have proof of mailing. That letter was refused. On August 24th, I re-inspected again. You can see the picture that the condition was the same. On August 25th, we sent a second notice of violation. We posted City Hall and posted the property per statute 162. On September 28th, we re-inspected the property. It was the same. I filled an affidavit of service. And request for hearing. Those papers were refused. On October 16th, I hand-delivered a copy of the notice of hearing to Mr. and Mrs. Comfort, to Mr. Comfort, I'm sorry. And this morning, as Your Honor can see, the fence is in the same condition. Hoping that Your Honor has the wisdom of Solomon in this case, I've not been involved in a case of a fence this old and a fence that, in fact, was not put up by the owner of the property. Well, I have tried to talk to the complainant and ask if, there was certain circumstances why it had been up all of this time, and now all of a sudden it's complaining, and he just said that he thinks it affects his property values and doesn't like the fence that way.
Is the complaining party the one with the chain link fence?
I'm not sure whose chain link fence belongs to. I don't know if Mr. Comfort knows or not. I don't know whose fence that chain link fence is.
But we don't know which. How many adjacent property owners are affected by the fence?
Just the complainant. It is the house directly next door.
Okay, so the complainant is the one with the chain link fence then?
Yeah, well, I don't know that. I assume that, but I don't know that for a fact. I initially thought that the wooden fence belonged to the complainant because of the way it was erected. He claims not, that he didn't put it up, that the previous owner put it up.
Do we know when Section 4.15 was adopted by the city?
I do not. I can get that information for Your Honor, but I do not.
All right. Anything else on behalf of the city?
No, sir.
All right. Who else is here to speak to this case? Mr. Comfort, do you have anything to say? By the way, I find that all proper notices have been given, and indeed, Mr. and Mrs. Comfort are here today. So, go ahead, Mr. Comfort.
Look, Judge, I'm 81 years old. I'm in bad shape. I've survived 2 heart attacks, 4 bypasses, and 4 machines. I moved into this house the day after Christmas.
What year was that, sir?
Last year, 2015. Jim came down, told me about this fence. I said, look, this fence is here. Nobody seems to know when this fence went up. However, I had to go over and get homesteaded. I went over to the town hall. Mr. O'Reilly pulled up some pictures which don't show too much, but according to his photographs, that fence was there for quite a while. That picture that they took was for something else that was done by the previous owner, but that fence was there in 2010. I got a notice from Jim to turn it around. I says, I'd rather talk to the magistrate. I had nothing to do with this. It's been there. I put up 2 stupid sections. I followed what was there, that's all, and that was it. I have a neighbor next door that's a loser. It's got nothing to do, I guess, except call them and say, the fence is up wrong. I don't have too much to say except, Judge, it was, here, sir, it was there. I had nothing to do with it. There's a fence here that's 4 foot, metal fence. That's been there since Moby Dick was a minnow. This other fence is put back here. Nothing to do with the property line. Nothing to do with anybody except that neighbor. Nothing to do with the neighbor here. Nothing to do with the neighbor there. The front fence across the yard, that's up according to code, right. The fence going down the side is wrong. I understand that now. Didn't at the time. I came from Tennessee, where you put up a fence on your property. Doesn't matter which way you put it up. This guy next door, it's okay for him to park his cars in the backyard, gas fumes and everything. That's okay, but I can't have the fence turned around. Not right.
Do you know
Something's
why?
wrong.
Do you know what triggered complaints by your neighbor?
He bumped the fence. Oh, and he says, did I hurt your fence? He said to my wife. My wife said, why have you got to park your car here? He's got to park it up against the fence. I didn't care. Did he hit the fence? He did the damage to his car, not the fence. Maybe that's what triggered it. I don't know. I don't talk to the guy. I moved in. I went over and said, we're going to be the next door neighbors, hiding behind the door. He said, okay, and this and that. I told him who I was. He told me what his name was, and I left, haven't said one word to him since. That was prior to Christmas of 2015.
All right. Anyone else who wants to speak to this? I want to take a minute here and look at that.
I did go over to the office and spoke with Sean. And I did say them 2 stupid sections that I put up. I volunteered. I says, I'll turn them around. Didn't even give it a thought that they were up wrong. I followed what was there, which I think anybody in their right frame of mind would have. But I volunteered to turn that around. They said, no, you got to turn it all around. Why?
Okay. How long a section, how long is this fence? How many feet, do you know?
The whole fence is 66 feet.
Okay. Well, let me take a minute. I want to look at something. All right, anything else on this matter? All right, I don't see immediately when this particular code provision was adopted. Obviously, if it was adopted after this fence was erected, this fence would be grandfathered in. In any event, this fence appears to be very, very old, and no one has complained for at least 10 or 15 years. I don't know how many years the complainant has lived next door. Does anyone know?
There since the mid-90s.
All right. This seems to me to be triggered by a new feud, and it's not the job of the city to exact revenge or retribution for neighborhood feuds. I'm going to rule that the adjoining neighbor, not having complained for at least 10 or 15 years, is stopped from now complaining about the way the fence was erected. Indeed, in looking at the photographs, I see that the neighbor has a chain link fence, which is not terribly attractive in and of itself. I don't see any purpose would be served by requiring Mr. and Mrs. Comfort to take down this fence that was there long before they got there without any complaint for anyone. So on either one of two grounds, either it was grandfathered in, and I'll do some research on that and find out when this ordinance was passed, or even if it's not, I think estoppel operates in this case. Neither the city nor the complainant ever complained about this fence for 10 to 15 years, and it seems to me it would be highly inequitable to require Mr. and Mrs. Comfort to take it down at this time. So my ruling is going to be that this case is dismissed without any need for further action on the part of Mr. and Mrs. Comfort. All right? The next item on the case on the docket is... Thank you, sir. The next case on the docket is the Courtyard Venture, 1750 West Broadway Street, Suite 112, case number CE 15-001303. Tax ID number is 16213150800000030. The alleged violation is a violation of the National Fire Prevention Association's NFPA 1 Uniform Fire Code, 2012 edition. That code having been adopted by City of Oviedo Code of Ordinances in Section 26.1 paren 2 paren. Who's going to be presenting the case for the city on this one? All right, you've already been sworn. Who is here for the Courtyard Venture? Do we have anyone here for the Courtyard Venture? All right.
This is the first case fire presented in several years. I'm just going to stand by the system.
I'm sorry, I can't hear.
I said, Your Honor, since this is the first case that fire is presented in a number of years, I'm just going to stand by to assist them procedurally if anything
Okay.
comes up.
First, ma'am, would you state your name and spell it for us?
Yes, Sharon Ginsburg.
Sharon?
Sharon, S-H-A-R-O-N. Ginsburg is G-I-N-S-B-U-R-G.
G-I-N-S.
B-U-R-G.
B-U-R-G. And the other lady?
Amanda Baumann. Baumann, B-A-U-M-A-N-N.
All right, you've both been sworn. What do you have to present?
May I approach?
Yes. All right, you handed me 14 documents, which I assume you want admitted into evidence. Any objection by anyone? All right, will be received into evidence. All right, Ms. Ginsburg, tell us about the case.
Yes. Amanda, fire inspector, went out and conducted a fire inspection at the location on June 2nd of this year. Upon receiving approval to do the inspection, she discovered that the location was in severe disrepair. And if you would refer to the fire safety survey, it indicates the violations that were noted. Specifically, the means of egress were obstructed with numerous items being utilized as storage. So it was reducing the width of the means of egress for the occupants. He had several items in conference rooms. Basically, he was using his business office as a storage location for the Great Clips locations throughout Central Florida. If you'll go to the pictures, you'll see where we have several pictures that show the reduced width of the walkways. Picture number 3 is actually supposed to be a conference room. Picture 4 is the back storage room, which you can see he's also started utilizing the ceiling grid for additional storage space.
The things
The
items
items hanging from.
Are those flammable?
Not to my knowledge. It's all combustible.
It looks like some of it might be wood panels or something.
Yeah, that would all be combustible material. I'm not sure. Amanda did the inspection. I'm not sure if there were flammables present at the time. I can refer to
I
her.
didn't see anything flammable.
Well, I used the wrong term. The items I see suspended by the rope, they are combustible.
Combustible,
Some of it
yes.
was, yeah, some of it was the metal tubing for like a chair ballast just hanging there.
Okay.
So we had advised the occupant to make immediate corrective action due to the issue of it being within means of egress and an excessive amount of storage. We gave him about a month and a half to make corrective action. We went back on 7/28 of 2015, and nothing had been done. So that at that point, we proceeded with the notice of violation through the code enforcement process.
All right. And do we know that I see they're not here today. Do we know that they received the notice? How were they notified?
Yes, they were notified via certified mail with return receipt,
Okay, and
signature.
I see they signed for it.
Correct. That was for the notice of violation. The notice of hearing, for some reason, the delivery came back as undeliverable, returned to sender. Just returned to sender, unable to forward. Therefore, we had to hand deliver the notice of hearing to the location.
And who hand delivered that?
That would be Jim.
All right. And you're already been sworn. Did you indeed hand deliver it?
Yes, sir, I did. There was a shooting affidavit in the back.
Okay.
The very last sheet.
All right. All right. First, I want to find that there was notice of the violation and there was proper notice of the hearing. It's difficult for me to understand why someone on behalf of Courtyard Ventures is not here today. Do you all have any idea why that is? And the last time you inspected it was July 28th, 2015, and nothing was done?
Correct.
All right. And when did you first advise them to take corrective action?
June 2nd of 2015.
Do we know whether anything's been done since July 28th?
Yes. We actually returned on October 26th, Monday of this week, and verified that he has made significant progress in correcting the violations. There was still a little work to be done in his office, but nothing to the extent that it was during the initial inspection.
Is courtyard venture still in violation?
As of October 26th, no.
Okay, what remains to be done?
At that location, nothing. He was sufficient in getting the violations corrected as of Monday.
Okay, well, is there another location? I'm missing something. My question was, is he now corrected the violation?
He has corrected the violation, yes.
All right, so if you went out there today, there'd be nothing to cite him for?
Unless something's changed since we left on Monday, no.
Okay. What action would you like to see on behalf of the city?
My recommendation would be to deem him a repeat violator in the future, that this happens again. And I'd also just like to add, it's a business office complex, 2-story, non-sprinkled, that he's using as a storage office. So that's why I would like to deem it a repeat violation.
Okay. Is it a violation to use a non-sprinkled office building for storage of combustibles?
It would be considered a change of use in that specific suite. His primary use would no longer be a business office. His primary use would be storage with an office incidental. So he has it flipped. Right now, he is an office with a couple incidental storage spaces, closets, so have you. He had it the opposite way. So rather than go the route of permitting and going through the land development code to see if it could be done as a change of use, we said put it back to the way that it's supposed to be used as. It's classified as a business office with incidental storage.
And he's done that?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So what you want is an order which puts him on notice that should it occur again, he will be deemed a repeat violator.
That is correct.
Okay. Anything else on this item? Okay. My ruling is just that. I'm going to find that the condition for which the courtyard venture was cited has now been corrected. However, should the condition reoccur, it would constitute a repeat violation. All right. Anything else on this item? All right. Thank you.
Your Honor.
All right. The last item is the matter of Lee v. Manana. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Yes, okay. You're right. The Land Development Code